Alright, budget magic time. Playing some mono blue mill, mono blue sensor in standard. We're going to keep this. Sensor is either going to crush our opponent or we can cycle it and get new cards. Hopefully crush our opponent. Censoring our opponent's first 3 plays sounds hilarious. So, Island, go. It'll depend primarily on what our opponent's playing. Planes for our opponent, and Thraben, Inspector. Alright. Well, Island, go. Another planes for our opponent. Gets in, 4-1. Bolas Plains. Another Thraben, Inspector. Sure. Sacred Cat. Okay, I guess. Let's cycle a Censor. Minister's not bad. Cycle a Censor. And a Scribe. Okay, I like this. Ooh, and a Pieces of the Puzzle. Well, let's play Minister. Leave up Censor, pass the turn. Oh, this is the Abzan Rights deck. Well, good news is opponent goes attacking, so we'll block one. Good news is Engulf the Shores should be super good against this deck. Down to 18. Cycle Censor. Opponent has so much mana now, I don't think it's likely to really be relevant. Play an Island. Let's Pieces of the Puzzle. Mill some lands, more Pieces of the Puzzle. That was not ideal. We didn't hit Engulf the Shore, and our opponent has a ton of mana. They didn't sack their Clue, though. 3 card types in the graveyard. Missing a creature. Opponent has Anointed Procession. 2 cards in hand. Vessel? Huh. Spicy. Well, let's mill our opponent. Anointer Priest, they're probably happy about that. Another Minister. We are not finding lands. Well, this feels really bad, but pull from tomorrow. We just got to hit our land drop. Oh my goodness. Well, discard Minister past the turn. That's a disaster now, I think, is what we would call this. Hidden Stockpile. Well, we've gotten a lot of non-Engulf the Shore, non-Crush, non-land cards out of our way. So that means, in theory, we're going to start drawing into the cards that we need. Opponent sacks a Clue. Thraben Inspector gets some more clues. They're going to start getting Hidden Stockpile tokens. Well, let's mill our opponent. Not a land. Well, I mean, we don't have a choice. We got to do this again, as bad as it is. There's a land, finally. Discard Void Shatter, play the land, pass the turn. We have still not found an Engulf the Shore or a Crush of Tentacles. Oh, this feels like it should be such a great matchup because those cards are so good. I guess next turn we can Scribe and Pieces of the Puzzle. The problem is we could just lose out of nowhere, which is not ideal. Here comes the Dorks. We will kill a Servo. Yep. Now what, opponent? Gets back Anointer Priest. Gains a ton of life. Gets some more tokens. Alright, Pieces of the Puzzle. No way. Cycle Compelling Argument. Play the land. Pass the turn. Leave up our negate. Discard Startled Awake. Oh my god. Oh my god. This has been one of the oddest draws. Scale of 1 to 10, this is 10 as far as just how awkward this draw is. Here comes the big attack. We eat a Servo. And we're to the point where it's this turn or bust for bouncing everything. Another Anointed Procession. Well, this is it. Now or never. Alright, there's Engulf the Shore. So we don't die, which is good. We still need a Crush. I guess we just do it now. Engulf the Shore. Bounce everything. Play a Scribe. Mill our opponent. Pass the turn. We still got to draw. So land is a good draw because it lets us Pieces of the Puzzle for Engulf the Shore. Engulf the Shore or Crush are great draws. Crush in specific is probably game over. And we have a lot of those cards left in our deck. Our opponent's going to rebuild quickly. We'll have to see if we're literally dead on board next turn. We might not be. Thraben Inspector. Then they can sack an Inspector to get a ton of servos. Yep, there's the sack. Gets to scry. Well, this is a huge draw step. Crush wins us the game. Engulf the Shore is super good. Even a land is good because it likely finds us those things. There's 4 servos. There's a land. So 1, 2, 3 pieces of the puzzle. There they are. Crush, engulf, play an island, pass the turn. Now I think we're good. Discard a Startled Awake, mill our opponent. Yeah, I think we're good now. Because we can bounce everything, and then next turn we can crush. So let's block. And I mean, if we don't have to bounce everything, that's good too. Sacred Cat. Fine. Sacks the Clue. Evolving Wilds. Gets a bunch of tokens. Yep. So, play Minister. Get some energy. Surge a Crush. Replay Minister. Pass the turn. Yeah, now we should have it. Hidden Stockpile for our opponent. Fine. I mean, our opponent can chump for a while, but that's not even that important because we're just going to mill them out. We aren't going to kill them with damage. They have way too much life for that. Sacred Cat. Yep. Thraben Inspector. Sure. Korax Evolving Wilds. So that'll get a servo. And a tap land. Yep, fine. Void Shatter. And let's just play a Scribe. Mill our opponent. Leave up our counters. Pass the turn. This also lets us leave up Engulf the Shore. Do some more milling. I don't think our opponent can really attack. Yeah, no attacks. Evolving Wilds. We're pretty close to winning next turn, actually. Cryptolithrites, we will negate. That's plus a lot of mana. Noia Procession. Yeah, fine. I think we just win. Yep. So our opponent gets a couple servos. So, mill 3. Opponent's down to 15 cards. Startle Awake our opponent. Mill 3. And good game. Opponent scoops it up. Yeah, this seems like the kind of matchup we want to be playing. This is pretty much set up for what we're trying to do. Against this deck, I think the main change would be to just bring in negates. Probably over sensors. And run it like that. This hand. We do have a cycle. Yeah, I think this is fine on the draw. Mostly because we can cycle Compelling Argument. There's Evolving Wilds. Well, Island. Yeah, we can just Minister turn 1. And pass the turn. Blooming Marsh for our opponent. And there's the Hidden Stockpile. Well, play Mirror Pool, pass the turn. We could use blue mana. That's what we really want. We do get the cycle here. We want to make sure our opponent doesn't get down like a Gideon. That would be very bad. Sacred Cat, Cryptolithrite. Cycle Island off the top. Pull the anti-island. This is bad. Let's pieces of the puzzle. Get pieces of the puzzle, negate, mill 2 islands. Come on, blue mana. So many double blue spells, so few islands. Tap land for our opponent. No Gideon. No Gideon. Maximum punishment. Oh, we would have been able to counter that if we had a blue source. Mill our opponent. There's an island. I think it's a bit late to the party. Well, let's pass the turn. We're probably just going to have to pull here because we need to find Crush. And the clock at which we need to do this is fairly accelerated thanks to this Gideon. Opponent gets in for 2, we take it. Down to 18. Engulf the Shore isn't even good until we find a lot more islands. Well, I don't like this, but we gotta do it. Void Shatter, Anointed Procession. Could have negated, but I'd rather use a more expensive counter there. The one that requires double blue, since that seems to be the sticking point at the moment. Mill our opponent. There's an island. We're getting close. Mirror Pool comes in tapped. We can island pull. That's probably best. Yeah, let's do that. Island, leave up our counters, hopefully just pull to find more islands and maybe Crush. We don't have a 1-mana play to trigger Crush. Westville Abbey is going to end up being a problem. Here comes the Gideon. Opponent attacks. Well, we're going to block with Minister. So, perfect Crush here would be, or perfect pull would be Minister, Island, Crush. Yeah, I think we got to let it go. I mean, we're getting to the Crush or Bust point. Opponent's going to be able to flip Westville Abbey next turn, I think, if they have... Yeah, they do have the mana. Seems likely. So we got to find something. I guess Engulf buys us a bit of time, but not that much time because this Gideon resolved. Leaves it on top. Embalms the cat. Well, pull for all we got, X3. And we'll discard a Void Shatter, I think. Yeah, discard Void Shatter for now. Did not find an island. There's an island. No Crush, though. Alright, so what's our plan? How close are we to dead? We're pretty close right now, thanks to Westville Abbey. We can just bounce the board? Yeah, I think we just engulf right now, bounce the board, play Minister, play Mirror Pool, pass the turn. So if we draw a Crush, awesome. We can Manic Scribe Crush. If we're desperate, we can also pieces of the puzzle to try to find Engulf the shore. Alright, opponent kills our Minister. If we're not in a position where we're just dead, we can also just pass and do a big pull from tomorrow to set things up for the following turn. So Gideon gets us for 5. Opponent's going to get 2 servos. So we're down to 9, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that means we're not technically dead on board. Yep, sacks the cat, gets a scry. This might be working out. It's going to be close. Play the island. And I think we just pass and pull from tomorrow. Our opponent shouldn't be able to kill us here. Here comes Gideon. So we're going to drop to 2. Fine. We're also to the point where, yep, sacks, get some more servos, gets a scry. We can also pieces of the puzzle for Crush next turn. We have enough mana, which is helpful. Gets back the cat. Alright, well, come on, pull. Do your thing. Pull X5. Oh, there they are. There's what we were... Oh my god, Mono Crush. Sweet. Sweet, 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 sweet. We will discard a pieces of the puzzle. Opponent gets servos. We draw Negate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. So play an island. Let's just... There's no way we can Crush. I guess we could no Octopus Crush, leave up Negate. I kind of like that. Yeah, let's just naturally Crush. We don't get an Octopus, but we get to leave up a Negate for the Gideon. And then we have more Crushes. We have tons of stuff now. Now we're almost to the point where we just want to find mill cards. We do need to be aware of Shambling Vent. That is 2 damage. And we are at 2. Opponent has Hidden Stockpile, which will let resolve. Cryptolithrites, which we will counter. And opponent passes. We draw an island, so play the island. Play pieces of the puzzle. We'll take pieces of the puzzle, Startled Awake. Play a Scribe. Mill our opponent. So the main thing we got to play around is not dying to Shambling Vent. That's our biggest concern here. Pass the turn. Keep on milling. Fatal Push. Ooh, this is interesting. Do we know our opponent's hand? How do we lose? Maybe I should have kept second Negate. So if we do this, we lose to Untapped Swamp. Oh, it's so unlikely. All right, we're gonna negate it. Our opponent can't Fatal Push again and activate Shambling Vent unless they have an untapped black source. Thramid Inspector, fine. We're also 1 island away from bouncing a Ormondal. Hidden Stockpile, yep. Cracks the clue. Gonna get some servos. we're actually also pretty close to just winning. Startled Awake. Well, let's Startled Awake our opponent. Pass the turn. Mill our opponent. So we should have Startled Awake win next turn. Opponent goes attacking. Will engulf the shore. Unless our opponent has, like, Collective Brutality or a direct damage spell. Which seems unlikely. We have the mill win in hand. Seems like a good matchup for what we're trying to do. There's Gideon. There's Thraben Inspector. Gets a clue. So our opponent probably just sacks the clue, gets some tokens, but then we win. Yep. Thraben Inspector. Can sack a Thraben Inspector. Makes a token, sure. Oh, they already had Revolt. Alright. Well, we still got the win. Play the island. I guess we can just double up. So, Startled Awake our opponent. Copy Startled Awake. And we got the GGs! Sweet! Well, Mono Blue Mill. Janking its way to a win against a Pro Tour deck. Whew. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, take a second and click that like button down below. It's a great way to help support the channel for free. And you can find the next video in the playlist right here.